Coming up in the news tonight, 3 persons are dead following a traffic mishap in the West. Beaches to close during the holiday weekend. And tonight we have an Independence treat. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news tonight, a horrific accident in West Grand Bahama overnight, leaving 3 persons dead. The 2-car collision taking place in Boodle Bay, and police say speed is believed to be a factor. Italia Hall has more.
Around 9:20 Monday evening, police were called to the scene of a traffic mishap at the junction of Queens Highway and Windsor Drive, Boodle Bay, West End, involving 2 vehicles, a black 2007 Mazda SUV with 2 passengers and a champagne-colored 2006 Chevy Cavalier with a lone driver. When our ZNS News team arrived on the scene, one of the vehicles involved in the accident was flipped over and mangled. Officer in charge of the Police Traffic Division, Superintendent Jeremy Henfield, says the Chevy Cavalier was exiting Windsor Drive, Boodle Bay, and the Mazda SUV was traveling west on Queens Highway.
Based on the physical evidence that we have seen, we can tell you that speed would have played a factor in this accident. And tonight, we would have lost 3 lives here at the scene.
Residents from the community were in a state of shock and disbelief when they found out what took place. As for the ages of the 3 occupants of both vehicles, 29, 23, and 39. The victims are believed to be Chanel Curtis, Marciano Morley, and Roderick Pinder. Superintendent Henfield making this appeal to the motoring public.
There's no place in Grand Bahama that you need to excessive speed to get to. If you leave home in sufficient time to get where you need to get, you can surely get there and arrive there safely. And so again, we just want to say tonight is a tragic night. Give my condolences to those families who would have lost loved ones.
He says the traffic department will continue to be visible throughout the island.
And we will continue to report offenders, especially poison speeding. As you can see, this accident occurred just before the curfew, and so there's something that we definitely will be looking into. But we just want to say to the motoring public, please slow down and live.
Once the initial investigation was complete, the hearse took the bodies away. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
A special tree planting ceremony held by Pine Ridge Urban Renewal to commemorate the life of 16-year-old Zion Clark, who was tragically killed by a motorist back in June in Abaco while walking after a game of basketball. Deputy Director of Grand Bahama and Bimini, Senator Jasmine Darius, says Clark was a committed member of their band.
He died, and he was a very instrumental part of our band for Grand Bahama. We have one of the oldest and strongest youth bands on the island. He played the sax, he played the drums, and so today we want the young children, our urban children, to know that we appreciate them. We appreciate the work that they've been doing, their commitment, their steadfastness to grow, to discipline, to learn the instruments, and so we're planting a tree today in his honor and celebrating his life.
Clark's family was also in attendance as loved ones brought remarks during the special service. Corporal 2625 Kelvin Harris is the Urban Renewal Band instructor. He says Clark will be greatly missed.
He's one of my very first students. So from 2016 to now, that's a lot of years. I watched him grow up from a young child to a young man. And he's left a great impression upon all of the other band members who he's associated with throughout the years.
As the countdown continues to the country's 47th anniversary of independence, residents on this northern island will not be allowed to visit any beach this holiday weekend. The nation's leader, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, announcing late yesterday that beaches and parks on New Providence, Paradise Island, and Grand Bahama will be closed as of 10 p.m. on Thursday and will not reopen until Monday at 5 a.m. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Tourism is continuing its training of business partners directly involved with the visitor experience. Today, officials took their session to the Taino Beach property. Jay Philippe was there.
The Bahamas Ministry of Tourism and Aviation and Department of Public Health Services conducted a tourism business compliance training seminar at the Taino Beach Resort for businesses directly engaging tourists. In attendance were public service drivers, along with other professionals within the tourism industry. Making a presentation was Dr. Frank Bartlett, coordinator of the COVID-19 task force for the Grand Bahama Health Services. He highlighted safety rules and regulations for individuals employed in the tourism industry.
Our focus basically is for them understanding what their responsibilities are when they engage with persons that come from abroad and with persons who are in the community. So simple things that we go over with is them having a clear understanding about the principles of public health safety measures. That's the hand washing. We're looking at the cough and sneezing etiquette, and we talk about things like how they should be taking care of their environment. So for example, if you're a taxi cab driver, what type of things should you be doing when you engage with somebody who enters into your car? How should you be talking to them, speaking about the importance of social distancing? Simple things like how do we disinfect our car after a passenger leaves from you?
Bartlett says this recommendation is based on recent findings about the role respiratory droplets play in the spread of the virus that causes COVID-19, paired with emerging evidence from clinical and laboratory studies that show that cloth face coverings reduce the spray of droplets when worn over the nose and mouth.
The biggest challenge we've had globally, and we're still having some challenges here within our community, is to have persons wear masks. The message, the take-home message, and the most important thing, if you forget anything else from the talks that we've been giving, is that masks work. Okay, the recommendation is for those in the community, the cloth masks work, but they should be a double-layered mask. And for those who are making the mask, it should be a high-quality type of cotton, usually no less than 180 threads. That would help with protecting.
Stephen Johnson, General Manager for Tourism on Grand Bahama, notes that the Tourism Readiness and Recovery Campaign Committee, along with other government officials and private partners, are dedicated to keeping persons safe throughout the Bahamas.
The campaign is really resonating in Grand Bahama. Grand Bahamians are compliant. We're here at Taino Beach Resort, and just to walk in, to come in here, they took your temperature. And obviously you have to sanitize your hands before you come in here. Taino Beach, along with other properties on Grand Bahama, are ready. And this is all a result of what they call the Tourism Readiness and Recovery Committee, where certification is the key. It is mandatory for the hotels. It is also now mandatory for cab drivers, for vendors, for anybody in the taxi industry.
Johnson also says the goal is to protect citizens of the Bahamas and local guests that is expected to visit Grand Bahama in the near future. I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
We have an update tonight on hurricane shelter list for the island of Grand Bahama. Most of the shelters sustained significant damage during Hurricane Dorian, creating a bit of a concern for this year's hurricane season. But as we hear in this report, additional shelters have been placed on the list. Minister of State for Disaster Preparedness Management and Reconstruction, the Honorable Aram Lewis, says that his ministry is actively identifying and inspecting shelters across the island. He notes that in addition to the schools that are normally used, 16 churches are on the list and several other buildings may be added as well. He says due to the COVID-19 virus, there will be a change in the operations of shelters this year.
COVID-19 pandemic caused us to change our model, whereas we were only focused on preparing gymnasiums and church auditoriums. We're now also preparing classrooms, and that's giving us additional spaces. Now, in addition to the classrooms, we are also preparing the gymnasiums and auditorium because you need redundancy. And as it is right now, the classrooms are actively being renovated. Some of the gymnasiums were already up to speed. But what we are doing now is making it even better. We are adding an air conditioning system to 8 Mile Rock Gym that never had the air conditioning system. So again, that is being upgraded and it's being hardened. To Jack Hayward High School Gymnasium, that is also going to receive an air conditioning system. Sister Mary Patricia's School, in addition to the classroom, we're looking at putting in not a home economic block, but a tuck shop and a mini commercial kitchen. So if that is the shelter, now we also have cooking and eating facilities also at that location.
He says that this year they are also looking to incentivize the churches and private schools that are used during the times of hurricanes.
We are trying to figure out a way now, in partnership with our NGOs, as to how we can repair these churches, how we can repair these private educational facilities, so that there will be some sort of a trade-off for them offering their buildings to us. We don't want to meet it in a good condition, and of course, during hurricane it's used as a shelter. It falls into disrepair, and we walk away and expect them to just give it to us the following years.
The Disaster Management and Preparedness Minister adds that Hurricane Dorian left behind a lot of teachable moments, including the need for more rescue equipment. To this end, the minister has acquired emergency response vehicles for both land and sea rescue should the need arise.
In partnership with Northcom and the United States Embassy, we are pleased to announce that we have 12 Wally rescue boats already procured. They are very nice rescue boats, and they should be on the island in the country in 5 to 6 weeks. What we did with Northcom and the U.S. Embassy was that we had sea rescue exercises and training throughout the islands of the Bahamas. We did it on 12 islands.
Also, when it comes to shelters, Minister Lewis says that the Western District will have additional facilities.
We have inspected the government administrative complex down at 8 Mile Rock, look at the police and the courtroom side of it, along with Administrator Palacios and the construction team. And we are pleased, we're satisfied that a portion of that building also can be used as shelter in the Western District. The contractor agreed to complete some of the bathrooms, some of the kitchenette areas, the lunchroom areas, so that if we need to use that as a shelter, it is certainly adequate. In fact, during Dorian, part of the construction team, they wrote a Dorian in that compound. It was adequate then, and it's even more advanced now.
Now, recently, a shelters list went viral on social media, noting that the entire island of Grand Bahama should consider evacuating. He explains that this was taken out of context and that every islander should have a plan in place.
Any island in the country can be hit. So every island should have an evacuation plan. In your house, you should have an evacuation plan with your family. How are you going to get out? Where are you going to go? Your communication system must be up to speed. You understand? So again, that is not unusual. I think it's something that we should be aware of. Have an evacuation plan in place for any and every island of the Bahamas.
Happy Independence, Bahamas. Hey, I am Apostle Van Rico Hanna of Restoration Deliverance International Ministries, where my wife is the co-pastor and prophetess Carla Hanna. Man, listen, Bahamas, I encourage you, even in this pandemic of the coronavirus, God has kept us Bahamas all these years. Listen, man, our forefathers trusted God that we may get this independence, and we got it. Listen, man, if God was able to keep them back then, He's able to keep us now. Keep your head up, Bahamas, for we are a resilient people, and that is who we are. Listen, man, keep your head up to the rising sun, for we shall make it through this time. God bless you, Bahamas, and enjoy your independence. God bless.
A Grand Bahama-based foundation still providing relief for hurricane victims. Those details straight ahead.